What's up, everybody? It's King C. I'm coming to you today to show you a couple weaving wire tips and tricks. So today I'm going to be using only 20 gauge wire and 28 gauge wire. So the larger the number, the thinner the wire. The larger the number, the thicker the wire. Or did I say that backwards? Y'all get what I'm saying. So the first one we're going to do is 20 gauge with the 28. So what you want to do to start off is line up the two 20 gauge wires, and you're going to wrap around the 28 gauge wire just so you can actually get it started. So right here we're basically going to wrap it around twice. So there's one, and then there's two, and then we're just going to bring it over both, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other wire. So under, go 1, 2, and then go under. So right here you want to make sure all your wires are nice and neat and actually pressed together very tightly to make the weaving wire all asymmetrical. So again, it's 1, 2, and then you're gonna go underneath or behind, and then the same thing again, 1 over the first wire, 2 over the first wire, and then over both. So again, it's just gonna be 2 and 2. So you're gonna do it twice on one wire, go over, twice on the other wire, go under. And you're just gonna repeat that same pattern over and over again. So it should start to look like this. So I know I'm sounding repetitive, but again, I just want to make sure everybody gets it. You're going around once, do it again, twice, over both wires. Then you're gonna go between the two, well technically under, and then you're gonna go twice, 1, 2, and then under both, and you're back at the beginning. So when it's finished, it should look like this. And this is the finished weaving wire. So this next one, again, is going to be 20 gauge wire and 28 gauge wire. This one you can use for a bell, which is like the top of your crystal or where the chain is going to go through. But basically, it's going to be 3 and 3. So you're going to do 3 times on one wire, and then go over the top 3 times on the second wire, then go under, and you're going to repeat the same pattern. Here, I'll show you. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, then over both, and then you're going to go under 1, 2, 3, then go all under both, 1, 2, 3, then over the top, and same thing, 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to go under. And sometimes this wire, when it's like super long, it does give you some hassle, but once you start to get in the hang of it, you can speed up the process. So that's what I'm doing here. So you should begin to see the pattern, and then you're just going to again just repeat it, and then it's 3, 1, 2, 3, and then over the top, and then 1, 2, 3 under. All right, so it should look something like this. And I'm just cutting off the excessive wire, but you can keep going as far as you want, you know, but this is the 3-3 wrap for a bell or whatever you want to use for your design. Honestly, this one, I don't even know what to call it. We're just gonna call it the spiral. But basically it's a 28 gauge wire with the 28. I'm wrapping it to get it started. So basically you're gonna wrap the 28 gauge wire all the way down the 20 gauge wire, or at least halfway or more than halfway down. But with this method, I'm going to use a drill. You can do this by hand, but it's going to be time consuming. So if you have a drill, I recommend the drill. It saves a lot of time. So you cut it up like an L shape, squeeze, tighten it in, and then basically you're going to hold the 28 gauge wire to guide it along the 20 gauge wire. So just hold it lightly and let it flow. But also too, you always want to push the 28 gauge wire towards the drill so it stays nice and neat and you have no kinks in your wire. All right, so now I have that there. I left a lot of space at the end because what's going to happen is that 28 gauge wire is going to go further down there and you don't want to waste any wire. So you can go ahead and leave a little out so that 28 gauge wire has some room to go further down. So again, I'm going to be using the drill on this one. So I'm going to be using a larger gauge. This is an 18 gauge. So basically this 18 gauge or the 20 gauge is going to wrap around the 18 gauge like so. So what you're going to do is grab your 20 gauge wire, start spinning it around the 18 gauge to get it started. So you want to do this a few times so I'll be ready to put it in the drill. Again, if you don't have a drill, you can do this all by hand. It's going to mess up your fingers. You can look at mine and see how much mine's all beat up. Just do the L shape, grab the drill, and keep it pushing. So once it's done, you're going to tighten the ends and make sure you have no pokies poked out, but that's that. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can take a 28 gauge wire and go the opposite way in between the wires to give it more of a solid look. And you're going to follow that 28 gauge all the way down to the bottom or the opposite end. All right, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Peace.